experiencing that, and if she can get some sort of letter or something like that that they've all signed, you know. But I know that can be risky because you live there, you can get targeted, making complaints. Something difficult to go through, but I mean, also if it's afflicting you that bad, sometimes you don't care, and you know, you just want it to go away, so that you would work on that. But that is a tough situation.
You can do some tabling in front of Homeless Black Services Center, bring it up at Conscience and Action or Huff tomorrow. See if anybody wants to volunteer to table, a meeting of the homeless for table there. And ask, you know, for concerns, if anybody else has that problem, you'd like to sign up and express your concerns.
How did they change their name from homeless to services?
Oh, that's right.
To Housing Matters.
Navigation.
Oh, housing matters, that's right. How about housing hardly matters?
Well, I mean, they should be a little more honest.
Or housing someday, that's what I'm thinking of.
And I
Housing
also,
occasionally matters.
and I also got
Very
reports of a nice lady who I met at Food Not Bombs who lives in a van, who said that she's disabled and she has a van and it's registered, everything's great, but she's got constant harassment, constant profiling, people asking her, you know, when's the last time you were arrested, cops and stuff stopping, when's the last time you were arrested. It's just like homeless profiling and giving her a hard time about her situation, trying to move her along. And she's just, you know, an elderly lady, she has a partner in a van. Keith,
Yeah, I made it.
so we can start now.
Okay.
I was hoping for more people, but it's 10.
Why don't you go sit over closer so Robert doesn't have to stress his hands so much?
Oh,
Hey.
that's so nice. Hi, everyone. You have an agenda, Keith? Huh? You have an agenda? Yes, I do.
I have it on the phone.
Okay. Well, the first part of the agenda was discussion about this proposal to have people obligated to go to shelters. And so I wanted to talk about that and how we would potentially address that and protest that or make some kind of statement about that. That was one thing. The next thing was all the challenges to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, Martin v. Boise. And I just noticed that the Association of California Police Departments has endorsed a challenge, as well as the mayor, the LA County, Sacramento County, the City of Sacramento, also the Sheriff Department's Association of California. So that's another subject we can talk, which are related because they successfully challenge Martin v. Boise, then with that helps aid them in their obligation to shelter. And then
they'll be able to criminalize people and stop you from what they're trying to do is take away your right to have a tent and sleep in public.
right. And then the other issue I thought we could potentially talk about organizing against Nextdoor.com and its whole amazingly volatile, horrible series of communications about attacking homeless people and why that should happen.
Yeah, a lot of the hate speech has moved to Nextdoor.com. And if you don't have an address, you can't even get on there and see like what they're saying about you, what the neighborhood, you know, talk is. Homeless people can't get on Nextdoor.com.
Right. And it's a nationwide crisis. I mean, I hear from people all over the United States who are on Nextdoor saying they're just, it's horrible. Like they won't even, people try to get off of it because they can't stand the just horrible levels of hate
Yeah,
towards homeless people.
Very biased.
And so I hear this a lot. And then they've also organized against Food Not Bombs using Nextdoor.com in other cities and here, but with no effect here. They did get a law passed in San Jose against people feeding people at St. James Park through using Nextdoor.com.
It's being enforced.
No, fortunately, it was not being enforced. And then maybe we could talk a bit about I could do a report on the National Union of the Homeless Study Training, and West could probably also give us. So why don't we start out with ideas about confronting obligation to shelter. Anybody have any ideas?
Well, I feel like our conversation kind of was leading up to that as to reasons why it's not okay for them to do that to people, because one thing, their shelters are not safe. They're completely substandard facilities in a lot of cases, full of bugs. I mean, when I lived at the shelter in 2009, the director actually had come from LA, and he was a child molester and was running from a child molestation case. His name was Doug. And I mean, he might be a nice guy. I don't want to say whatever the outcome of that case was, but I mean, you have to feel safe wherever you go. It might not be appropriate for you to be in these places. No one should be forced to do that. So I mean, on that note, I mean, what should we do about that? How can we get that message across effectively? That one, we won't go, and two, change the narrative before they even, continue down that path.
That's interesting. So maybe one thing we could do is a tour, demand that we have a tour of existing shelters. And
In order to find,
to see just how wonderful they are. Maybe as a union, we should be potentially trying to organize at least some members in each of the facilities, which I think now is just 1220. I don't know if
There's,
the ones at now Mission Housing.
I have Deb, my friend Deb, is staying at the Salvation Army overnight. So there's that.
Great. So maybe we could get reports or something from people that are actually living there and publish that. Maybe interview them on video and make a short video about what their experiences are. Another is maybe form a letter just by, I mean, this is kind of weak, but at least it would be putting out that we're opposed to the forced shelter. My suspicion, and then so the Santa Cruz Union of the Homeless maybe puts that out, maybe we ask the launch groups to respond to the idea of loss of freedom.
I was thinking about something too that we can research, some data regarding people who have like disabilities or PTSD, why they cannot stay in a shelter facility, crammed full of other people, like why that's not okay, and that could be more harmful to them, to their mental state.
Any other people want to say anything?
Well, Otter won't stay because he gets his shit stolen.
Right? Yeah, he lost his brand new boots,
secure.
and he just quit going.
And some people won't go because they can't bring the pets.
Yeah.
Well, there's the lady who's staying at Rubley, and even though her cat is a service animal, and it's for her son who has, I guess, has developmental, maybe autism, I think she said, and she even has a letter from the doctor saying that he recommends that they keep this special service animal, and they're giving her a hard time saying, you have till November to get rid of it or get out.
Yeah.
So,
well, one of the questions is how much risk do we put these people at? I guess you gotta ask them, let them know, we'd like to have you speak out about these issues, but, we don't have any alternate shelter for you, or alternate tents, or alternate accommodation.
well, maybe there's a way that we can talk about these issues without putting anyone at risk.
Yeah, maybe we just
Or not
having it in writing and not have their names. But the other thing is that the issue should be that everyone should have housing, not a shelter.
Right.
And also, like if we take the 1220 River Street, when it was at $92,000 a month, that was over $1,500 a month per person that was there. And you can actually rent apartments in Santa Cruz for that. And are there not like 60 vacant apartments in Santa Cruz? Maybe not. But,
Or I was thinking somehow even make use of the motels. Like, we have a couple motels that, you know, are not always at full capacity. They're not really serving the community very well anyways, you know?
yeah.
I mean, we have things we can do.
Yeah, so I think maybe the push for housing is the number one thing, that people should have, like, to change the narrative where the people should deserve paying, you know, jobs that they can afford, or housing that they can afford, housing.
And we should start pushing the, like the facts and the data behind it's cheaper to house people than not. I think we should push more of that data,
Yeah.
changing the narrative. Like, really let people know constantly, you know, it's cheaper to house people than to go this route.
I think there's also a deal where you're, a sense that, like with the Japanese camps of World War II, at least I've been reading some editorials that there's a concern among the general population that this could become a model not just for dealing with homeless people, but for other groups of people as well, who are considered, like, you know, immigrants, obviously, that they're being used right now for that purpose. And there might be some way to link up with that struggle that's going on.
Yeah, we should maybe see also if we can find people that, well, we know, there's one friend of ours that was in an internment camp, was a refugee, but she doesn't want to come to these meetings because it brings up too much pain, but maybe there's a way we can interview her what it was like to be in an internment camp. And then there's also one of our volunteers, her parents lived in internment, that's why her family was released into, I think, Fresno. That's Jill. Her parents were in a Japanese internment camp. And so there might be like people that survivors of camps that could have stories about it that somehow we could relate to. But I think, and then another idea I had was to see if we can, if somebody either near Concord or maybe one of us could go and see how far along that internment camp is in construction, that they're building at the Concord Naval Weapons Station, or if there's a way we can, maybe we can't even get into the facility to see it, but maybe there's some way we could.
Show what they're up to and what they plan on doing with people.
Yeah. And
Public records request?
maybe, yeah, it's supposed to be 47,000 people to be held in both that camp and the camp in Camp Hamilton.
That's
There's
just
another
amazing.
47,000 people. Originally it was claimed to be for immigrants, but I don't know. It could well be just used for people living in the streets. The other thing I think we need to do, I tried to go to these meetings of the homeless task force, the governor's homeless task force, and they never write back. And
No.
I call their office and I write them, and they basically never let you know where. And Crystal, I know, is trying to find them, how to get to these meetings. Maybe we should do a demonstration at the Assembly People's office here, like, let us know, you know, make the task force public.
Yes. As far as that goes, our Senate member Anna Caballero, she's on the homeless task force for the state, and apparently they're having a hard time even getting information as well. So, and I've asked, and you know, I've left notes even at the Capitol, you know, never got response. So even Caballero, apparently they're all private until they're ready to present you with something. So there are meetings happening, but we're not included.
Yeah, see, that's like
Yeah, that's not
very
okay.
suspicious. And the fact that they keep putting out comments that there's an obligation to accept shelter, and then you've got the parallel thing from the Trump administration saying we're not rounding up people just yet. You know, it's kind of a bad combination. combination
So
of,
who put forth this idea in the first place, the obligation to shelter? And who?
Steinberg and Newsom.
Who set up the task force? Those are two.
so Gavin Newsom, the far right-wing
Democrat.
Republican governor of California, who changed his name to a Democrat after we spent years protesting him as the head of the Republican Party in San Francisco, is now, he's created a task force which is headed by a state assembly person from LA or from Southern California, I forget his name, but then the mayor of Darrel Steinberg is his name from. And he's the one that mostly is putting op-ed pieces in the LA Times, saying, and interviewing with TV stations and so on, saying that that sleeping outside is not a civil right, is one of his quotes. And the other quote, his most common quote, is that he's encouraging legislation for a right to shelter, which includes an obligation to accept shelter. And so he has many quotes where he has both of them, he says both of those things in the same sentence on many media outlets, including his own website from the mayor's website and Sacramento mayor's website. So,
Well, and he did an interview with like SACB or something, you know, an hour-long interview. And, you know, not even a week after he was appointed as the mayor, you know, sworn in, there was a really rainy day, and they cleared everybody out from City Hall. And the only reason he had to apologize the following city council meeting because people had recorded it and shamed him into saying he was sorry. But then the very next day, kicked him out again, and when it was raining underneath the awning of City Hall, and now no one is allowed to be at City Hall at all. So that's his version of helping.
yeah, and I would say also he was immediately, not long after he made this obligation to shelter statements, he also, he and the City Council of Sacramento and the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors and the city attorney and the county attorney filed amicus briefs in support of overturning Martin v. Boise, and he also, the city sued 7 homeless people in civil court for being a nuisance in the commercial district, and he cleared, you know, I think, well, it was the sheriff's department that cleared the camp in South Sacramento, but he certainly could have encouraged that not to happen if it was so he's not much of a friend of people living outside, I would say.
So, are there other parts of his history that show he's a bit of a control freak, authoritarian, or is he kind of a liberal who's lately become authoritarian? What is he? I guess that's
Corporatist?
I wasn't paying attention to him until I started seeing his, once he became head of the task force. But, and I don't know if he was the mayor at the time they threatened to arrest bombs at Cedar Chavez Park, but I don't know. I forgot what his, I did know at one point some of his history. He had other positions in government, of course, but I don't remember.
Do we know what, I guess this local city council isn't considering Martin versus Boise challenge?
So far, they haven't said they are going to challenge it.
Here in
And I don't,
Santa Cruz?
yeah, I don't think that
I haven't heard that.
yeah, I don't think they've said anything, but I'd be surprised if they don't ultimately.
But they wanted to challenge that bill that would take away the police from being able to tow people's vehicles. And so they were going to write an opposition letter to that, so I mean.
But since that got turned back,
Right.
probably they'd be afraid that Cummings would vote against the Martin versus Boise thing.
Right. So I think maybe that's why.
Yeah.
But I mean, that doesn't mean it's not in their hearts. I mean, if they think they could get away with it.
Yeah. But maybe they don't think it's that important to have their voice, because so many other, LA is, you know,
That's
participating,
possible as well.
Fresno's participating.
Yeah, it's more likely.
I mean, I don't know what the timeline is, but I think people should be ready to see a bad decision coming down from the Supreme Court sooner or maybe later. I don't know whether it's sooner or later.
Yeah, well, it's a matter of them, they haven't decided to hear it yet.
No,
But I would not be surprised with all the hubbub about, from the Trump administration, that they don't feel compelled to hear it.
I just don't understand a lot of the logic, I mean, in that at all either. I mean, they're not gonna, people aren't obviously going to be able to pay tickets or anything if they're homeless and they're in house. They can't pay to be criminalized for not having a place to go. And we don't have jails or even facilities, even if they, I think, made some, to hold all of those people. So I don't understand why they're planning such a thing.
it's all about.
Confused by this as
It's-
well, because I don't think it's a feasible plan, even if it passes.
No, it's all about fear, that's all it is. They don't need to put you in jail, they just need to make you afraid of going to jail. Similarly, in the main beach, they don't jail anybody, they just make you afraid that if you stay on the main beach, you'll go to jail. That's the whole point. What they want is a tool to frighten people into doing
So I
what they
think we
want
need
them
to also
do.
maybe spread that message.
What message?
That, I mean, ultimately, if we had enough people saying, we're not gonna do that, they're not gonna really put all of you in jail. I
That's
don't
usually
know.
how things work out.
Well, they'll round you up and put you in a camp for 30 days, and then they'll maybe let you go. But I mean, I don't know if a bunch of people are willing to do that. They might, you know, I mean,
I mean, I don't really know how this is gonna go.
I don't know.
That's what we're talking about, Robert.
Indeed.
Yeah, well, they even admit they don't know what they're gonna do, but that would be roughly, according to their statistics, they have to put 130,000 people in camps. Now, will the camps be, like you can come and go out of the camps?
No.
Or are they just gonna be there? Or is it gonna be like here where you have to go, you can't get a job because you have to
Yeah,
get
a
into
lot
the
of
camp,
questions surrounding that.
camp before, you know, you gotta be picked up by a van at 4, and then you get dropped off at 6 in the morning?
Won't everything be included inside the camp? You don't have to leave it and go anywhere?
Yep, that might be a
My
good.
thing is like challenge them. I mean, if you can get 130 people up there, then you have to arrest 130 people, get 130 tickets. Literally, I just got a ticket in Slims for jaywalking. I wasn't jaywalking, but they booked it as jaywalking. Okay, I go to court now. Where did I go to jaywalk? I was between the lines. There was no cars coming. There was no obstruction of nothing. But yet their principle, I think, was to find out who and what I was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, and I'm all, come on, I'm knowing that. So now, certain people, they call it the home import team, came to me and told me, well, we're rid of the ticket. But okay, well, if I don't go, and it becomes a ticket for me.
Right, a warrant
But
for
I
my show.
show up, and when I do show up, all of a sudden now, it's like, I have to come back with a lawyer, okay, and they give me to November to find a lawyer, and let's take this thing, but we're gonna say what we're gonna do with it anyway right now. That's my thing.
yeah.
Challenge, you have to challenge the government, you just can't keep, I live in Salinas, I'm sitting there watching people, the population, okay, sure, you can call it New Mexico, whatever you wanna call it, but they're not doing anything because it's agriculture, and agriculture brings jobs.
Yeah,
But it brings, ooh, come on. I mean, when I was a kid picking strawberries looked nothing like this.
yeah.
Okay, so what are we doing? Are we aligned for agriculture to run our whole system? They get 80% of the water. Do we?
Exactly, yeah.
That's right, they use the water all right.
Yeah, well, my girlfriend takes care of people who've been poisoned by agriculture. That's her, people that are dying of different cancers from the pesticides and chemicals. That's mainly who she talks to.
Yeah.
They're just killing off people. And then a lot of people living on the streets down there are victims of agriculture. Well, most people that are living outside are, you know,
Not
some,
cynicism.
yeah, well, I have a lot of friends that have their, like when I had my walker, people were telling me, oh yeah, I broke my back, you know, I lost my job, and then, now I live here. You know, that's what you hear that a lot, you know. So here they're like busting their ass for U.S. corporations, and then they're being treated like crap once they are thrown away.
Disposable, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing related to that, when people are released from hospital, say they had a street accident, a car hit them. I've met several people who were hit by cars.
Yeah.
They go to hospital, they get some repairs, and they get a pair of crutches, and then they're out.
Yeah.
There's no way to go, no way to
I
recuperate.
just saw someone like that.
And they've lost their job because of the injury.
Yeah.
And a lot of people end up homeless.
She had the arm crutches and could barely walk. And I had a conversation with Eric. I said, it's really sad. And I look at that, like our community literally doesn't care if you can take care of yourself. Like we're not helping people that truly need help. Sad to see that.
Yeah.
They double up on the streets instead of some Chinatown.
Yeah.
The taxis. Oh, come on, this is a person. What are you doing? Okay, who's really the criminal?
Exactly, yeah, these large agricultural companies are just, they're not getting poisoned, they're like living in New York, running some company.
Or
and
gated
so
communities.
just- Yeah,
So there's a big need for special shelter for people who are recovering from medical conditions.
Yes.
yeah.
So what are we gonna do? I guess, I mean, we mentioned something about writing a letter or something, I guess trying to follow their meetings. I mean,
Yeah,
kind
so
of-
why don't we come up with a program, I think that's really good. So maybe what we could do, and maybe bring it to the Sunday meeting. So was that already announced, the Sunday at 5 o'clock meetings
Yes.
for the Union of the Homeless? And so at some point, we're gonna try to get like,
Food not bombs.
it'll be the Union of the, Santa Cruz Union of the Homeless meeting. And then we're gonna
Yes.
try to get people to take different responsibilities. And like so people have tasks, and we have like this core group of 4 or 5 people that live on the streets or have recently lived on the streets that can,
What if
We
we
need
drafted
energy.
a letter with some of the specific things that we talked about, why they can't do that, why it's unconstitutional, and then we signed it as like the homeless union, and then every one of our chapters signed it as well, and we drafted up a powerful letter like that, and we submitted our own letter.
maybe that's what I think we should share our letter with all the other unions, and then encourage every other local to,
Right.
and then maybe there could be like the Santa Cruz Union of the Homeless, member of the
In
California.
opposition, and that we support Martin versus Boise.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be good. And then include in it a demand that we would demand for housing and livable wages.
Yes.
It says on our statement.
That they need to start handling the root causes of this issue, the high rents, we need housing, and not criminalize. Like just a straight up demand for that.
And then maybe on Sunday, we could also do research between now and then to propose an action at the county building directed at the state assembly and senate people. That's where they are, right? For our people.
I think there's an assembly office at the county.
Yeah. So we'll do some research on that to make sure that actually is what's going on, but I believe it is. And maybe choose a time to do a protest and do a press release and say that we're opposed to this. As just at least a beginning.
well, I'd say also trying to get people registered to vote or whatever, an ID. I mean, if they got a warrant, I guess that makes it difficult. But I'm pretty sure you can get the ID no matter what. I think challenging them policy-wise and getting a homeless voting block, especially throughout the state, would really make them cringe and think thrice about, following through with this, force you into a box.
12 chapters of the homeless union nationally, from all different areas signing. I think that's good.
I read a thing about San Clemente where they kicked some people out and they said you have to prove that you've been somehow tied to this city to come back in for
I read
reentry.
that as well.
So I mean that's kind of why I'm the only thing they understand is paper, and they manipulate paper to manipulate people. And if you've already got that in place, then they can't.
I worried
They got
about that
nothing.
because that was something actually that Brent, who we all know is an advocate, sort of as well, here, because he was saying something like that with his transitional shelter ideas. And like, how do we make sure that we're only helping locals? And he kept bringing that up. How do we make sure that we don't attract people from other areas to
Right.
what we've created here? And so I worry that model was already being proposed a little bit here. You know,
Mhm.
shaky ground there, because they were looking at something like that too. And if Brent had had his way, you know, with that place as the manager, we might have gotten something like that. And then if that excludes a lot of people, what if you
Yeah.
can't prove that? What if you just got here? I mean, it doesn't matter. They still need housing as well.
Exactly, right, and we're always worrying about the people that don't make it into those programs, and then
Right.
how are they being treated in those programs?
We need inclusive programs. I mean, not everybody has the same issues and needs the same things, but we do need inclusive programs.
So does that wrap up that agenda item?
Well, the only thing I had to contribute is the ACLU would be a powerful ally.
Yeah.
It's.
Maybe we should also write a letter specifically to them and to
Listen, support.
Christie and them to all like try to write.
I was talking to Anthony about that because they didn't really want to get involved, I guess previously, didn't feel like we had a strong enough case, I guess, with the Ross camp, and that the city was, you know, saying that they were offering all this adequate shelter. But the thing is that they didn't do that. And so now we can show that they didn't do that. We have people camped all over the place. You know, maybe we can now go back to the ACLU and say, look, you know, this is what happened.
You know they're shiesty.
And see, you know, are you willing to help us now?
You could also go to the city council, look for a majority to vote for opposing, you know, the amicus brief that wants to overturn the Hardin versus Boise. And then use that also as an opportunity to bring back to council the buried information about all the ordinances that they are supposed to be showing us, and the analysis they're supposed to be showing us regarding criminalization of the homeless locally, which, you know, has been done. It's just it's been you know, shoveled into some secret corner somewhere, and presumably, you know, you have at least 3 people who would be supportive of that, and maybe a 4th.
Yeah. Could be at least an issue brought up that becomes debated again.
Right.
So I'm wondering if we then could also propose at some point a draft statement that we give to the council to vote on opposing obligation to shelter.
Yeah.
That might be an idea.
To do that, according to Glover, you need to do it by next Thursday, by a week from Thursday. Council meeting is Tuesday. He wants to have, actually he wants it
This week?
He wants it before this Thursday, before the day after tomorrow, because he wants it a week in advance.
So we can figure out what to do with
So he can figure out what to do with it.
Yeah,
So
right, that makes sense.
if anybody wants to write it up.
Anybody want to write it up? I'll write a rough draft of both things and then get around.
I'll try to work on it.
Yeah, I'll make the first draft of both those letters. So that, and then,
I'm good at adding things in that might have been missed.
And when is the next council meeting?
Next Tuesday.
Is the one tonight? Oh, it's next
it's
Tuesday.
a week from today.
Okay.
Second and the 4th. No. Second and the 4th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
I'm a little concerned
He
with
knows.
what's going on, I mean, within the city council too, just the general obstruction, like they're refusing to, I mean, take heart what was said in the Rose report. They're not going along with those recommendations, even though, you know, most of the claims were found unfounded. They're like they're with Susie's little thing, that whole show, and then Donna's behavior. It's like they're refusing to stop acting like they're victims, you know, the whole Susie thing. And then they have that Susie's old employer, the violence against women.
Commission for Prevention of Violence Against Women.
Right, getting involved and saying that they back, you know, these victims or whatnot. I mean, I'm just concerned that the city council is just not getting right about this. And Donna Meyer's behavior has kind of taken everyone by shock.
Well, what was the matter? I seem to be missing something here.
Well, city council on Tuesday got a little bit crazy after the censure was tabled.
After the what people?
The censure was tabled.
They were gonna censor, they were attempting to have a vote on the censuring Drew and
Oh, right.
Chris for being
Yes,
bullies
yes.
and,
The city
and
council was trying to do that?
Yes.
sexist against the
Oh, some citizen group was pressuring.
No, Myers and Matthews.
Myers and Matthews.
Against Crone and,
So that's like an internal coup.
Yeah.
Right.
I wrote a
That's
wonderful letter in
really
support
dirty.
of him that
That's
they
dirty.
have now.
I have
Well,
another,
in support of Drew.
I was also thinking we should collect like videos, like, like Alex's videos and stuff that's online and everything, and send it to the National Association of Realtors and the National Association of Apartment what owners or whatever that is, and because they're the people funding the campaign, and just to say, look, at this is what you're funding. Do you want your name associated with this? What, and not that they would do anything, but maybe they would be a little like, well, might want to vet the people we give hundreds of thousands of dollars to.
So I'm
Keith, pretend you're a Republican. Somebody, you work for a Republican so-and-so, and you wish to have the wonderful people names of your companies that's doing this.
How much time has been taken up already on this issue with Don Myers and the others?
Too long.
Was it just a brief thing that came up?
No, they took up a whole evening, 7:30 to.
Evening of trying to
9:30.
exclude some council members and get rid of them?
Well, it's more attempting, it's more pushing the recall. I mean, they're pushing
Yeah,
the
so
recall.
internal
So
way.
they're using up the public business time, the city.
Well, the main point is to intimidate Glover and Crone, which they're doing.
No, but I mean,
No.
this is such bad government. This should be investigated by the state of California. Government Services
Right.
Commission. This is not what they're supposed to be doing at all, even though they think they can. This is an
Got it.
abuse.
They have come, I'm just now imagining, since you said that, Nicholas, to have Senator Monning come and referee and watch.
No, not that. It
I
has
think-
to be some civil servants who are
Oh.
responsible for ensuring that local government operates effectively. And there are
Right.
such investigators, I think.
Well, they've done that.
Well, I mean,
right?
they did
Control,
that's
so
what
they'll
they just spent
investigate themselves.
$18,000 for.
They hired
But
a
I think that
lawyer.
was also.
Oh, that's right, but I thought manager Werner.
Mismanagement. I mean, it's that was also
He's the
terrible.
behind it.
Yeah,
That money
right.
could have
He'll
been
be
spent
investigating
elsewhere.
himself
Yeah.
Oh,
and
right.
concluded he did nothing wrong.
See, all this is a diversion from the issues
That they're, yeah,
that we really need to keep pushing. We need to keep,
Right.
you shove all this stuff aside, you get back to the issues. The problem is that the council members who are supposed to be pushing this, as I said, I think are
intimidated. Yeah.
very much intimidated, and
And
so
that
anyway,
was-
it's up to
and that
us
was
to
the
do what we
point.
can do.
Yeah, the point was to intimidate,
Right.
make it
Chill.
going,
And chill, yeah.
yeah,
Hush
shake the
their
atmosphere, so that no solutions happen. 'Cause like-
Excuse me, everybody, I'm Eileen Smith, I'm sorry I'm late, I'm walking as I'm still waiting for recovery of my bike body.
Oh, bummer.
But I get lots of exercise and I find things that ironically that homeless throw away that is pretty good. Wrapped up food, I found expensive dish soap.
Do you have any needles?
Are you finding 37,000?
But I've been an active actress forever, and I've lived in Santa Cruz now 50 years as of June. And darling Nicholas is an old timer, but he's going to go to South Africa, back where his roots were. And I'm glad to see him, and I'm glad to see Paul. And if anybody wants some chewing gum, like you're already chewing, if anybody wants some, I'm happy to share.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Cool. So let's recount on what we're doing around, we're writing a letter, we're trying to get the ACLU and the national, whatever that is, the trustee it works for, to-
Law Center from.
Well, yeah.
yeah, to also denounce the obligation to shelter.
Yes.
We are,
Do you have a lawyers guild in the county?
I don't think we have a lawyers guild.
Or at least for the state, I think
Yeah,
there might
in
be
fact,
one.
there's a women's lawyers guild. Oh, but I don't know if it's local.
Maybe we could get the public defender's office to.
Yeah. That's a good
Yeah.
idea. I mean, the more, yeah.
Right?
more
Don't think it's too
powerful
political, right?
Yeah. Well, and then the other thing would be to, so we've got, and somebody writing, well, at least we're taping it, but nobody's writing this down. But then, the other thing was we're gonna investigate, you know, maybe we have, the letter that we have, we present to the, whoever the senators, I forgot even who is the senators and the,
Well, you have Mark Stone as your assemblyman.
yeah,
Yep,
and then who's our senator?
It might be
Monty.
Anna Caballero.
Yeah.
Oh, Monty, yeah.
Bill
Yeah.
Monaghan.
Yeah.
Al Bilmon, yeah, that's right.
Plus, he's a sharpshooter and he has a law degree.
Yeah, so we should go.
And he has concern, at the least, he has concern whether or not he does something.
Yeah, and then we should be asking those two that to demand that the meetings be open so we can find out what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm. I'll do the same thing with Caballero.
Yeah, so that, and we should urge all the other locals to do the same pattern.
Of, yes, of generating a letter, opposition letter, getting signatures on that.
Yeah.
It feels really important to me to evolve beyond their language, to not be stuck with obligation to accept shelter and call it what it is, incarceration.
Yeah.
Mass incarceration.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people, and if that's what the public relations material is all using, then that's what people can connect with. Obligation to shelter sounds really flowery,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
but, oh, it's shelter. But if you
Then
can't
mass
leave, it's not shelter. If you can't
incarceration,
leave, it's not
AKA.
shelter, bottom line, right?
Right.
If you can't leave,
Or
come and
you're-
go, on your own schedule,
Right.
work schedule, whatever schedule.
Or that you don't have a choice to go.
Yeah, that's jail. If you haven't, that's jail.
Yeah.
If you don't
And
have
that's
a
a
right,
violation of the
that is
constitutional,
jail.
Bill of Rights against unreasonable,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Of your body.
punishment. Unreasonable
All of those
punishment.
things, yeah.
Yeah, which is what Boise, Martin v. Boise.
Because they'll
was about.
search you when you get into these places too, so that's
Oh, yeah.
lawful search and seizures just to get in. There, if they were to do this, I imagine by the time you hit your bed inside one of these mass incarceration places, you will have already had like 10 or something constitutional violations upon you, all kinds of things,
Yeah,
just to get in there.
yeah.
Violations of privacy, you know, tons of those.
Good point.
Right of choice.
Yeah, First
So write it
Amendment.
down, and
Rights
there's a letter, and then
Association.
give it to the council, please.
Right, you know, movement.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think though, in a certain sense, we should connect directly, because there's something so Orwell, it's almost a more evil thing about like obligation to accept shelter. I have to say, people on the streets look at that and go, what the hell? If you try to obligate me to do that, I'll shoot your ass, you know? That's
But
what I
it is
say.
kind of soft language.
Yeah, well, that's what people tell
The
me,
people
man.
on the
It's
other side might
you
like.
said it was Orwellian?
It's Orwellian, yeah, it's like crazy.
1984.
But I think we attach them to that. So what you saw that flyer I put out where it says obligation to accept shelter, and it's three
Yeah.
homeless people
AKA
in
mass
Dhaka.
incarceration,
Yeah.
is what it should say.
Mass incarceration. And so then the other thing is to figure out, to do some research on finding out if these camps have been started yet. That would be, and if we can photograph. Now that Modesto camp, that's kind of scary.
Yeah, they're moving it indoors now, and it's a large facility with like 1,200 or something. like
Yeah.
that.
and
Yeah.
Excuse me,
Bunk
what are you
beds all the way
referring
down?
to?
Well, there were,
But yeah, all
Like
bunk
butt to
beds.
butt,
It
yeah.
looks really, really
It
kind
looks
of.
like
Sardines.
the minimum security- It looks like the dorms
Wait,
you go
wait.
to when you
Yeah,
go
right?
to jail.
Where is
Yeah,
this?
low minimum security.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jail,
Yeah,
yeah.
just
Minimum
like
security, where is this, please?
Modesto, California. They had like these tents and rows underneath a freeway overpass that looked ominous enough. And and they've only had that like for 2 or 3 months, and now they're already disassembling that and moving people inside.
You had a picture of that in one of your newsletters, didn't you, in your
I have a
flyers?
photo of the shelter here.
Yeah. Oh, that's what you had.
That was,
It wouldn't be a bad idea maybe if we can organize a trip to Modesto to see what they're dealing with.
Mhm.
We have in mind for those 1,200 people. Take some photographs.
That's not
some
good.
I'd love to
unflattering
go.
photographs.
And we should try to start a union in Modesto.
Absolutely. I'd love to go.
That's another thing which so to, how we get, somebody should write, I don't write anything except.
So I've got mass incarceration obligation and shelter letter opposed by ACLU, National Poverty.
Yay.
Oh, you can
Assembly.
email that to us? So we
Amen.
remember
So
what the hell it is.
signatures. What else? Keep going.
City council resolutions.
Yeah, city council resolution.
Keith, I saw a picture of that, I can't remember where.
It was on Facebook, like, oh,
I don't have a computer, but
oh,
I
so you were seeing the picture that I have. I have the rules to getting into the winter shelter.
Yeah.
And then a photo that one of the
That's
staff people at the
very
winter
stringent.
shelter emailed me.
From the
to claim-
Modesto.
No, from here, from VFW, winter shelter.
Just to get into the ones here.
Yeah.
It's
But they're on
high,
budget
it's kind of
tents.
high barrier.
The tent one, wasn't mine, I don't know where that came
Yeah.
from. But there is a photos online of the tents all in rows underneath the overpass in Modesto, which somebody may have made.
Somebody made a print of it.
Yeah, you might have seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and also, yeah, I think that sounds like some good start on that. To me, that's like one of the most frightening things. But then also today I got a report that there was a sweep outside of, on Coral Street again. And they were writing tickets to everybody and chasing everybody off of Coral Street.
And it's getting colder and they're getting rid of people's stuff. We were gonna talk about our upcoming,
Yeah, so then we had, now I'm trying to get a hold of my connection to Patagonia to see if I can get coats. A few years ago, I got boxes and boxes of coats from Patagonia. And they were, oddly enough, the problem with all the coats was that they had accidentally stitched them all twice, so they were actually twice as good as they're supposed to be. So I'm going to try to do that. I'm just going to do the sock thing immediately.
we were gonna try to organize, an event at Costco where and also like some sort of list where we can pass out to the community that these are the things that we need right now, particularly coats, socks, underwear, and tents. That was the main things, right?
Yeah.
Those
Toothbrushes?
main 4 things. Well, we wanted to keep it to main 4 like warmth items for the upcoming
of course.
winter and kind of give people a suggestion. And then we were gonna table at Costco so that people can just go into Costco with the list, buy something, bring it back to us, and then Keith can distribute it. We can distribute it at Food Not Bombs or whatnot. And
Yeah,
do
and
that.
our idea was to do it a week from this Saturday, right?
And if we all spread the
Early in
word.
the morning, so we would, before we start doing the Food Not Bomb stuff with the van, we'd go and set that up across the street from the exit of Costco, because I'm sure Costco won't want us to really be there. And then my suggestion also is to, if we can get a volunteer to have a sign around their neck to stand by the door.
I was thinking that what we could do is we could have the table across the street, and then we could have somebody actually passing out flyers to people who are
Yeah.
in the parking lot, people inside. I have a Costco card, they can't stop me from going in.
Great.
Just being like, oh, here you go.
For
You know,
sure.
if you can donate, and then directing people to buy things
Yeah.
and dropping it off across the street.
Yeah, and then we have the union banner, and then another idea was to take let's have a sign like, for small size underwear, have the different sizes and these,
Like a crate maybe.
in
crates
the,
of
in
each
the,
one.
or the yellow
Small,
Trader Joe's
medium.
crates and put them across in front as you exit, so it's really visible,
Mhm.
and each crate has
That's
the size
encouraging
on
too.
it, was my thought.
That's a great idea.
See if
I'd
that,
help out, but our Quaker meeting is having a rummage sale to keep on keeping on.
on a week from this Saturday.
And we still have the homeless church bedroom on Wednesday nights.
Mhm.
Is it possible for us to partner with like local places? You know how they put like, the bin and you can fill it with coats? Like, is there any local places maybe that might, like maybe the thrift store on Water Like, cause they have so much clothes and so many things, like maybe they would allow us to use one of their bins and put it in the corner and just for the homeless union or for Food Not Bomb, since you're actually a nonprofit. I don't know,
Yeah.
something like that, collect coats for a week or two.
Yeah, well, Brent Adams does that, we can beat him to it in all those places.
Yeah,
that
we
he
could beat him
usually
to
does.
it.
That's
Sorry,
terrible.
Brent. Well, it was my idea, I just said it.
Yeah, well, no, Brent actually encouraged us to do it at one point, but not in his locations. But the problem that we
Is
found,
that his location, the thrift store on Water?
no, he has his at,
Location.
I think his is at
I know that
Stafford
guy.
Life.
Well,
They
where
don't
is
have
he?
no coats, I'm talking about the source of coats, they can go right to the rack, grab a coat and just put it in my thing. The bin will get full.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, the thrift store might do it. Salvation Army won't do it, Goodwill won't do it, but I would doubt. Since they would want to
Try.
take them and put them, well, they want to sell them.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, they wanna sell them too, but I mean, it's an
But
act
they-
of good faith, because they do for the United States cerebral palsy. But I mean, locally, it wouldn't hurt for people, they're still selling the coat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're just, because the person has to purchase the coat in order to take it over to the bin, so
that's a
they
good idea. Yeah,
They
maybe-
would
Oh,
purchase
yeah.
the coat, they could staple the receipt on the coat and drop it in our bin.
that's a great idea.
We
Maybe
should have
they
a
would do that.
meeting with
Yeah.
him,
Yeah, that's a good
because
idea.
he's not losing any sales by doing that.
Correct, it's actually encouraging sales.
Salvation Army you're
Yeah, that
talking
might
about?
boost his sales,
Goodwill,
actually.
thrift,
Good.
the thrift store over across from Stafford Life and maybe Salvation Army.
Yeah. And you said something about them being able, would loan you maybe one of those,
Well, they have all those bins
Those
anyways, they
wheel
have those
bins.
big, they might have a thing that's.
Canvas
we can already
things with
use if we don't
wheels.
have a bin, maybe.
I think, where did Brent get his barrels
I don't
from?
know where
think
you get those.
you could potentially get them at Great Bears.
And Bargain Barn used to have them.
Yeah.
oh, that's
I don't know
probably
if
where
they
he
give
went,
them
that's
to
probably
away, though.
it.
What, to Great Bears?
Bargain Barn or Gray Bears.
Yeah, so that's what we should do. That's a good idea. We should do that right away. Because people are like, Sunday, all these people came looking for tents and coats and stuff. It's kind of intense.
Mm.
Like
And
three-
we can make a couple
three or four-
distribution spots, like, for our meetings, like we can do it during our meetings, like our movie, I was thinking about doing a Thanksgiving meal, not the same time as the other one,
Right.
but that could be a time where we can distribute.
Indeed.
So we just got a request for information from the volunteer center about whether we were doing a Thanksgiving meal, and particularly being vegan, which we actually do on Saturday and Sunday after Thanksgiving already. And I don't think we want to do there's no sense in doing a Thursday meal. Because that's already happens at the
Is
time.
the
I was
Red
thinking
Sauce?
more the beginning of November.
To give out the stuff? Or to
Uh,
have
yeah.
Thanksgiving dinner?
For like, just like to have a big meal, some sort of holiday celebration.
Well, obviously for food at
Middle,
home, it's
maybe?
better to always do it on a Saturday and Sunday
It
because
could
we're
be
already
middle
doing it.
of the month.
Yeah. Yeah, we could advertise one of our meals as a celebration. And
Is the
that way we
vet,
don't have to do extra work.
excuse me, is the Vets Hall still doing their Christmas Day dinner and can they do a Thanksgiving?
It's unclear whether it's going to be at the Vets Hall or at the Maw. It's been at the Maw recently, but with new management, it might be at the Vets Hall.
Back in the Vets Hall, I
I don't
imagine.
know.
When we were back over there in Lancaster, Tony mentioned the day after Thanksgiving, so we may want to try to do a meal the day after Thanksgiving as
On
well.
Friday. Yeah, there was going to be another thing that was mentioned was to bring back the December 21st memorial for people who died on the streets. So I called the coroner's office. Their person responsible for that has only been in the job today.
Oh my God.
And so she got
The other one died, didn't it?
yeah, right. No, I still got the voicemail of the old guy. But, because I feel like it would be really positive if we did our own. It was sponsored by the Homeless Union and Food Not Bombs and Huff. That was not and Conscious in Action, so it was not the one that has no homeless people at it, at the,
But really heartfelt.
yeah, because that one is just a publicity stunt that, and I've only seen, have you ever seen, I saw 2 people that lived on the streets at one of those one year. Did you ever see people that live on the streets out of it?
Some people sometimes show up to light a candle.
Yeah.
But I mean, we had this at Huff where we had people would come and say, you don't need a memorial in December, you need a memorial every month for the people who died.
Good God.
And you need a memorial that talks about why they died, what needs to be changed immediately.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but
You know, but I mean, I could, you know, you could, and of course there've been homeless memorials for particular people. Linda Edwards
yeah.
had a homeless memorial.
I did one in the Santa Cruz County Jail, and the same day as I was trying to do one with other people at City Hall. And the one at City Hall happened, but I was arrested before it started. So
Oh.
I had to do mine in the jail, and I forget who I did it for though. It was like Wheelchair Chris or it was Wheelchair Chris that I did it for. Yeah, so we just did our own ceremony. Everybody in the cell knew him real well. Terrible. About 20 people came. Well, they didn't come. They were already there.
Captive audience.
Yeah. So, we all wore orange. It was beautiful.
Yeah. Imagine.
Solidarity with Chris.
Pumpkin color.
Well, that was what Chris did right before he died, was spent 30 days in jail.
Oh.
And then he came out and he used, and that very often happens. And you use when you get out of jail, and then you're not used to, you know, what you were using before you went to jail. The volume can kill you. So, well, it was never quite clear what happened to him, but that was one suggestion. Anyway, so that, and the reason it's done on the 21st is that the
Solstice last night.
Yeah. And it's good, and I think are you doing a memorial in Salinas on the 21st?
We haven't organized one yet.
But maybe you should talk to your coroner and get one. It'd be good if we could get as many locals to do it at the same time.
Absolutely.
And we take it back from the poverty pimps. Would be, because that's
Right.
like demented that they use it to raise money and sympathy for them and not for the people that live on the streets.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
That would be really positive.
With all due respect, Keith and Robert, all these chairs and homeless people knew about the meeting, the powwow to come to this?
Yeah, I'm not sure well, it's the first of the month. We just got their checks. They went and got hotel rooms and things like that.
Yeah,
Stuff that they want to do.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I think,
yeah, that's the,
most likely.
yeah, if we did it yesterday, we would have had a full house.
Did anybody get to the
Oh.
red church?
Yeah, we did.
We did.
It was
Both of
crowded,
us.
man. Oh,
What,
man.
what was it, the church, what, you mean at the?
The coffee
The
house.
meal
was
and
The
great.
red house, the red church?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, last day of the month, it was packed.
That's
There was a
their
lot of people I had
busiest day. There was a
never
lot
even
of people.
seen before.
Well, it's always packed, I see people seemingly to me, and I go out and get the free bag of popcorn or a nibble.
Yeah,
And
Well, it was a lot more-
Nicholas goes in there and somebody
it
else.
was more packed than
But
normal. Was
I usually-
anything, Nicholas?
I'm there because of the penny.
It was more packed
Yeah.
last night than,
It was
there was
pretty
probably
good.
about 8 or 9 people I hadn't even seen
Very
before.
positive atmosphere,
Yeah,
just great.
All
Lots of good music.
was gone.
yeah.
The meal, the plates were full, man, they had everything on those plates.
So that's, like, next week we have the movie here, and the difficulty is that the Red Church is happening, overlapping, so that's our,
Well, one more.
Yeah,
difficulty
Monday,
is that we
October
have the big
7th.
room, And we're serving food.
right,
At 4 p.m.
yeah.
How come you didn't do it on a Tuesday?
Because the anniversary is the
Yeah.
7th,
Oh, that's right.
but maybe
But
that
there's
was,
still time to get to it. I think they'll just get there a little bit late.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we'll, take some people off their hands tonight because we're serving a meal too.
yeah, but they were saying they get a lot less people on the first Monday of the month.
Right, anyhow.
Anyway, so. And a bunch of people that, well, one couple particularly had seen the movie and they were talking it up really big. So that was great.
So this is Monday the 7th.
Yeah, which is the 7th of October.
4
which is
PM.
4 PM here in the
Here.
auditorium, and it's the showing the public. And we showed it at, you saw it, right, Wes, at the,
Mhm.
and people really liked it a lot. And I think other locals, I know Harrisonburg, Virginia is showing it. We're showing it. I don't know, are you guys showing it that night?
Well, we're not very poised. I mean, it's
You've
kind
been
of
overwhelmed with too much other stuff, right?
yeah.
Where does it take
A lot of
place
people are in
again?
crisis.
It's in, it's in
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Well,
It's a Cincinnati Public Library. Yeah. Oh, that reminds me.
Is that everything, Keith? Did we make the whole thing, huh?
I think we did.
well, I'll come to this and I'll have to miss the Penny University discussion group that meets on Mondays,
Yeah, I
5
know.
o'clock.
I know.
But
That's the
Okay.
problem. But we have to show it again, so I think we will show it again at some other time
Yeah.
too. Maybe outside.
I have a pretty good projector. If somebody else got a screen or a wall.
Well,
Cool.
it's not been a little, strangely chilly also.
Yeah, I think we might want to do that at some point.
To show it again here, maybe. and
Or show it at
in
the
an
post
early
office.
evening,
Yeah, or we'll show it in here.
Mhm.
like on, well, I don't know, a few hours after your Food Not Bombs gathering.
Yeah. Now, the difficulty, the reason we started doing this at 4 instead of later is people have to, you know, like,
They have
people,
a curfew too to get to some of these places.
yeah, you
Like-
can't get into shelters.
Oh.
But maybe we should try to get it shown at 12:20
Yeah, we can try
at
to
night,
set
and then we
something
should try to get it shown at the
up.
Salvation
That would be
Army.
kind of fun.
Yeah.
A public
Real-
movie
real
there.
movie.
I'm gonna start
And then
putting
try to
posters
show it
up.
at the library one night upstairs.
That's a
Well,
great idea.
thanks for coming. and
Gentlemen, I'm
thanks for-
confused about the shelter itself. Can you show the movie there? Can people still go there?
Well, my suggestion is that we try, I've been trying to negotiate with the shelters to allow people to come to city council when there's an issue on
Yeah.
homelessness.
Yeah,
We might set it up to watch it at Rebley Family Shelter as well.